Welcome back to another episode of Wrist Check Podcast. The gang is back together again with a very special guest, an actual WCP alumni.
Yes.
Allow us to introduce ourselves. My name is Perry.
And I'm Rashawn.
The dynamic duo. And we have on the couch the one and only Yoni Ben Yehuda.
Yes.
Good to
What's
be
happening,
here.
my man? Welcome back.
Made it back.
Super excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you. It isn't often we have some people kind of repeat, but when we do, it's very special. You are official WCP family, so
I appreciate
it's only
that.
fitting and it's right. And what makes this evening so special is not just that we have Yoni again, but the topic of conversation.
Yes.
And this is something that we talked about briefly on the last time we had you here.
That's right.
And we've been going back and forth about what this reunion might look like when we finally get back together. And so this evening, we're going to talk about something we've wanted to talk about for quite some time, and that is hip hop and watches.
Amazing.
We're going to talk about some of the best collectors, who they are, why we think they're some of the best collectors, and then we'll try to figure out
the music they made.
and the music they made.
Yes.
And we'll try to figure out who the best of the best is.
Yes.
But before we get into that, as is tradition, we always start with our wrist check. And we start with the man who never repeats a watch, who though occasionally sometimes does, who's dressed to the nines.
He looks so fresh.
I know that paisley tie is crazy.
The whole look.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it,
Looks
man.
like he just came off of the ALD photo
I think you're the
shoot.
only person doing well in the stock market right now. What's on the wrist, Mr. Smith?
So a very special timepiece, as they all are. I'm wearing the trusty JLC Vantage Reverso.
Respect.
You know, I've kind of shared how I acquired it and its provenance. What I really enjoy about this watch is, you know, the numerals, this like stealthy look with the black strap, the lizard strap, the black dial. It kind of really works. And then, you know, when you flip the case, you know, it's got the extra sauce with that Vantage Reverso, you know, embossing there.
And a little sauce on that dial with that little red 8 too.
Yes.
Little tip of the cap.
Yes.
Soft flex.
Soft flex, you know, I think when I share this watch a lot, people are like, whoa, what's the 8 about? And of course, it's for the Aston Martin Vantage V8.
Do you think that he matched the hat with the watch on
Oh,
purpose?
of course he did.
Oh,
He
yeah.
looked in the mirror and he
Definitely.
was like,
All you need is the car now.
All I need is a car.
2 out of 3 ain't bad though.
Yes.
I'm wearing a new watch.
Yes.
It seemed fitting that I wear this when I was looking at it. I was like, what do I have that's like super hip hop? And then I was like, oh, I got this little thing I'm bringing with me. And so I got a vintage Piaget Polo, gold with the onyx dial, vintage quartz.
Yes.
And it's got some bling on it.
It sure does.
Yeah, this thing is icy. It's really nice. It's like super like throwback, feels super 80s.
Yes.
I feel like a little Gordon Gekko minus the suit you have on. But it seemed appropriate for this evening, and I'm a fan of Piaget. We got to hang out with Lex, whom you know also. He was on the show recently. And
Shout out
he
to
actually
Lex.
brought a
Great guy.
modern Piaget Polo, which
did.
I think is amazing.
Yes.
Yes.
And so
I
I'm a
love that
fan.
watch as well.
It's a great timepiece.
Polo 79.
Yeah.
Awesome
Yes.
watch.
Crazy
Yes.
timepiece.
38 millimeter.
It's
micro
perfect.
rotor.
And so this one also feels equally as nice on the wrist. So
I have a question for you about it.
please.
Do you feel cooler with the bling on? Does it give you
It's
a
a good
little,
question.
like, you know, pop your collar?
You know what it does?
Brush your shoulders off.
It does. On the way to the studio here, I had it on the wrist. I pulled it out, take a wrist shot, and I was like, oh, that feels nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a heater.
I like it.
There's something about gem set watches, especially when like this one, it looks like there's ideation behind it. Like the gem set wasn't where can we put diamonds? It was where can we add to the story?
Right.
Where when you get a gem set watch that does that, I think it elevates the whole affair.
You got something special on the wrist.
I sure do.
Yeah, you
What
do.
is this thing on your
So
wrist?
I'm very excited. My rule as an alumnist was that I also can never repeat a watch. I have a very exciting watch and a brand that obviously we're honored to be working with at Material Goods. So this is the Vanguard Titanium Orb.
Okay.
And it is one of the most fascinating timepieces that I've ever had the pleasure of encountering. So it's a flying tourbillon at the 6 o'clock position. And then you have this barrel at the 12 o'clock position that allows you, with the press of a button on the crown, to switch between manual, automatic,
Right.
and setting. And then the peripheral mass and the rotor is on the front of the watch, even though it's automatic, and it has this floating diamond. So as you move your hand around, you see the diamond floating as the watch is winding itself. And I find it to be aesthetically beautiful. I think it harkens back. It's interesting because when you think of that watch, you think of 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
But I also feel a little bit like this reminds me of that. I think of like some of the old Oakley glasses.
Oh, yeah.
And some of the old and that's really becoming very much in vogue in these they're not exactly minimalist, but they're very kind of like steampunk futurist
Yes.
in the design, but there's like a restraint to them. They gave me the prototype for a week before we started working together. And they were like, just experience it. And we were getting to know each other, and we were deciding how we want to partner up. And Michael Friedman introduced us. A huge shout out to him for making that connection. And we loved the team. The Material Good owners, Rob and Mike, really loved the team. And we were everyone was getting to know each other. And I had the prototype for a week, and then they hit me up after a week and they were like, hey, can you send it back? And I sent it back to them. And this was the first watch in my life that I missed.
Wow.
I missed having it on my wrist. And the second that happened, I went to our co-founders and I said, guys, I think we have a hit here. I wasn't a part of the first Journes in 1999 and 2000 and 2001. And I didn't get to collect Richard Mille in 2001. I didn't get to see the RM001 when it came out. Getting to see the next wave of that and getting to be a part of that, a Material Good with Vanguard and with Biver and with other brands is one of the most exciting aspects of where we are now as a brand. And certainly from my own lens.
You guys kind of are, ahead of the curve with a lot of the brands that you're carrying. I mean, especially between these guys and Biver. I know you guys are also carrying Moser and have done some special things with these guys. But I think that's a really interesting point, not having the opportunity of being there when some of the people whom we consider great today were really just starting to flush stuff out there.
I think of FP Journe in no particular order. I think of FP Journe, I think of Richard Mille, I think of MB&F, I think of Debatoon, and those are some of the brands that really inspire me to be able to help usher in the next wave of that.
It's incredible.
It is one of the biggest honors certainly of my career, and I think I can speak for Material Good and say it is one of the biggest honors of what the future of Material Good looks like as we continue to expand, because we are growing exponentially.
Yes,
that's exciting. Congratulations to you guys.
Thank you.
Speaking of waves, there was a wave in the 1970s that overtook this country. And it exploded in the 80s and the 90s. Yeah. Hip hop.
Yes.
And Gerald Genta is hip hop.
Sure.
Actually.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, 100%. But so we want to talk about hip hop and watches this evening. And, obviously, if you're a fan of hip hop, they go hand in hand. We're now in a special period in hip hop. It's 50 years old. And you got a lot of these guys who have matured into many of them are middle-aged now.
Yeah, that's true.
And I hate that it's true.
and there's some young guys here too.
Yes.
But I think today, with the watch industry being as popular as it is and part of the global zeitgeist, right? The idea of collecting watches is something that I think is resonating with a lot more individuals. And right now it's resonating throughout hip hop.
Yeah.
And so what we want to talk about tonight is some of the premier collectors in hip hop, and maybe even get down to who we think the top collector is.
Yes.
So I want to start with this first. And so I want to talk about sort of what the criteria should be for a great watch collector. And I've got some notes here, and you guys feel free to jump in. But I was thinking about, for one, rarity and exclusivity, diversity in collection. So we're talking about brands, styles, complications, historical and cultural significance. What makes this interesting is that many of these guys are also, cultural pillars in themselves, having achieved certain feats and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then the final point I had is just personal style and influence on watch culture. A number of these guys have, also helped accelerate the conversation
Yeah.
and bring it to a wider audience.
Yeah.
What else do you think we might want to consider this evening?
I think having a point of view.
Yeah.
I think that's a really big thing in collecting in
Mhm.
general, and being able to kind of articulate that thesis and that point of view without having to speak. So
Mm.
if you can look at a person of influence, in this case, we're talking about hip hop artists, and look at their watches that you see them with publicly and say, that person's style is X, Y, and Z,
Mhm.
or that person's point of view is this, that person gravitates to these types of complications, then they're doing something that's immensely difficult, which is they're conveying an idea
Yeah.
without words to the world through like not paparazzi images or whatever, Instagram or social media or whatever it is. And that's a really complicated, no pun intended, that's a really complicated notion to be able to have that point of view.
Trying to assemble the who's,
The Avengers
of watch
hip-hop
collecting and
watch
hip hop.
collectors.
Yes.
We have Jay-Z,
Yes.
obviously,
Mhm.
Pharrell Williams,
Mhm.
Drake, DJ Khaled,
Mhm.
Travis Scott,
Mhm.
N.O.R.E,
Yes.
and Tyler, the Creator.
Very, very strong list of
I
contenders.
really think it is, when trying to like zone in and figure out like who are these guys who, hit all these points, also have their own, personal point of view.
Mhm.
This is sort of who I think of, especially in terms of consistency, where they're actively purchasing watches, taking pictures of them and posting them,
Yes.
right? So what I did was we broke them down into different categories, and we'll talk about before we get to the top. We have them broken down into maybe the top 3 that make the most sense. So the first one, best collaboration.
Mhm.
We've got Jay-Z.
With Hugh Blow.
That's a contender.
Yes.
Hugh Blow.
Yes.
Also the Royal Oak Offshore.
Right.
Yes.
You got Pharrell with the RM5205. Travis Scott with the AP brown ceramic
This is spicy.
QP.
This is spicy.
Yes. Yes.
So, best collaboration. Who, what, why?
I'm gonna go with Pharrell.
Okay, for the 5205.
Yes.
Yes. And this is the Richard Mille piece with the astronaut inside.
Yes. Yes. Part of the reason why I have to say it's probably one of the best collaborations is because it embodies everything that Pharrell is, with, his fascination with space exploration, his brand Billionaire Boys Club, like him actually, I think, being one of the first hip hop artists, and arguably, right, you could say Jay or him, to bring RM to like the forefront. And so when we talk about the other 2 collaborations, I think Jay's collab was great because
Which one?
the AP.
The offshore. Okay.
The offshore, because, it tied into the iPod and the music. But the thing was that the watch didn't show any of his own personal DNA.
Mm.
Same thing for like Travis's watch, which I actually absolutely love, but I think it comes second to Pharrell's RM. Part of it, I get it with Cactus Jack, right? And
Sure.
his logos and all these kind of things. And then, that kind of like denim brown strap, which is dope. And then to introduce brown ceramic, fire. But it just looks like another Royal Oak.
I think the Pharrell is the most exciting watch. I was also thinking about like, which one would I want to own the most if money was no object? In choosing something that I love, I try to remove that from the discourse, because I think that that's the least interesting part of the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree with you. My vote in that category is Pharrell. I love that RM. I think the way I also understood it was the view of someone from Mars looking to Earth.
Yes.
And I think that there's something so beautiful and poetic about that. I do find the Cactus Jack AP collaboration to be very much in the voice of Cactus Jack, even more so than the voice of AP. When I look at that object, I very much see Cactus Jack, and I very much see Travis Scott.
I think we have a unanimous decision here because Pharrell is also my choice.
Yeah, there we
So
go.
it's a clean sweep for Pharrell.
Clean sweep.
But I think what's interesting from listening to the two of you is, and again, I'm going back to what you said about a point of view. You know, what you're talking about in sort of like the identity of the individual.
Yes.
And I think for sure, Pharrell's identity rings the most with this piece, because when you look at his entire career, right, this figure, the astronaut, is ever present.
Yes.
Ever present.
Right? The name of their group was the Neptunes.
Yes.
Right? Far out of space beats. Like, when I remember people first started hearing their beats, like, what the hell is that?
Yes.
And then they were just getting awards.
And shout out to N.O.R.E. for really being the first to put them on.
With Super Thug.
Yes.
Respect. But, you know, and then from the clothing, Billionaire Boys Club, their logo was an astronaut.
That's
So this has always been something that you could kind of feel for Pharrell stems from his childhood and extends to his art into adulthood. All right, next one. Most underrated watch collection.
Collector.
Okay.
We have DJ Khaled, Tyler the Creator, and N.O.R.E.
That's hard.
I feel like all three of them are pretty underrated watch collectors. Right?
Not a Khaled guy.
What do you say?
I'm not a Khaled guy.
Listen.
No, with the watch.
I get it. I didn't say who my top choice was yet.
Yeah.
But the reason why I wanted to include Khaled in this list, I think that there's something to the guys and women who collect watches but might not necessarily care too much for the history or the technical aspect, right? There's something that is childlike about it. I think about the first time when you first got acquainted with watches and you're like, I like this. It's purely aesthetics.
Yes.
The more you got into it, you learn the other stuff.
Yes.
What I do enjoy about DJ Khaled is how excited he gets when he gets a new watch.
Very fair.
And that is a feeling that I think we all enjoy.
Like youthful exuberance.
Yeah,
as
100%.
As a category. Of,
And I
who's
kinda,
the most youthfully exuberant to get
and
new watches?
I kind of do envy collectors that have it in a very simplified way, right? Where it's like, we're not talking about the movement. I don't care if it's boxing papers. It's a cool watch.
Yes.
I think there's something to be said for that. When it comes to Tyler, I think, you know, more and more people are starting to catch on about just his taste level, right? Now, we know he collects Cartier almost exclusively. A lot of great vintage pieces, just amazing, amazing taste. And I think when you look at his collection and you take in consideration his career, right? This is a guy who, from LA, skateboarder, who started off making songs about picking boogers and
like Odd Future.
You know,
was, like the distance to travel between an Odd Future mixtape and a Cartier Crash
is crazy.
It is a universe.
It is. That's an excellent analogy. And then there's N.O.R.E.
Yes.
And N.O.R.E. kind of quiet, though he's making some noise now. We know him personally. We see his collection. Very, very impressive. Here's someone who doesn't get a whole lot of attention.
Yes.
But is collecting from various different types of brands, collecting complications. He's actually going, he went to Geneva for Watches and Wonders, hanging out with a couple of brands. He's kind of taking it to another level.
And part of the reason, you know, why I'm like doubling down on like the Khaled thing, because I'm pretty sure one day we will see Khaled. He's probably gonna be like, "Yo, what's up with that?" And I have to answer to that. So
I'm had one, but this is another one. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I had to do a Khaled another one. I'm so sorry.
That's good. That's good.
So sorry.
That's good.
You could tell me to fuck off.
No. That was good. No, I like that.
That was like a Khaled dad joke.
That was good.
That was good. I like that.
I'm very happy with that. I'm so sorry.
But the reason why I kind of don't really know where to put my finger on Khaled is because Khaled's uber rich, right? I mean, all of these guys are, right? But what I'm referring to is he's buying what you should have. His exposure, right, puts him in a position where he's buying, at least he's not buying bust downs, right? So he's kind of like moved past that.
He's buying what you should have if you're DJ Khaled.
That's the whole point. That's what I'm saying. He's collecting like what you should have. Like it doesn't really step outside of the box.
He's not going to put you on to a new brand.
No.
At all. He's not ahead of the curve. But he'll throw some he'll throw some curveballs at you. There was a recent annual calendar paddock he picked up, which I thought was interesting. I was like, that's an interesting choice for you. It had diamonds, but still,
Yes.
I said, that's an interesting choice from you.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but it's Cali. He's supposed to have that.
So who's your choice? Who do you think is the most underrated collector?
You see, he's trying to keep us on like.
Yeah.
Well, so that's where it gets really hard for me
Between
to choose
Tyler
and
and
N.O.R.E.
Okay.
Part of the reason why I'm more lean towards N.O.R.E. is because he's buying his watches retail. He's building
That's true.
True relationships.
He is.
He's going to the showrooms. He's going to the events. He's actually being invited.
Yeah.
Because that's also another thing. Even the guys that we have on that list, I think you sounded off about 8 guys.
Mm-hmm.
How many of them are actually walking into showrooms and buying watches?
Well, to Tyler's defense, and I know this because I spoke to people at that company. I'm not going to name them in this, but he doesn't want to do anything.
Well, of course. But see, now the thing is, why I appreciate Tyler as much as I do is because he has to be learned and studious to actually buy vintage Cartier.
And also have a very specific point of view.
Yes.
Way ahead of the curve. For me, it's Tyler, but you kind of threw a curveball for me because I'm starting to think to myself, like, should it be N.O.R.E? Because I don't know his whole collection. Does that make him the most underrated?
His collection is crazy.
His collection is crazy.
And so and I, a lot of what I've always liked his music. I liked CNN. I think Capone and Noriega were like early, The War Report to me is an amazing album.
Crazy album.
Yes.
And talk about an underrated album too.
Oh, for sure.
For me, it's Tyler.
Okay.
But just barely, like a 1A, 1B thing.
So I will serve
Andrew's
as the
nodding over there.
Yeah.
Because he like agrees to.
This is a tough one, admittedly, but I'll serve as a tiebreaker. I'll say N.O.R.E.
Yes.
I'm going to say N.O.R.E. because I know what he's collecting. I think his most recent purchase was an FP Joint Centigraph
That's awesome.
that he got secondary.
Yes.
He really wanted it.
What dial configuration?
It was the black dial titanium. And now he's building a relationship. Also, N.O.R.E., he won't let me forget, he was the first rapper with the Cubitus. He had it before Jay-Z. Now, Jay-Z got the Tiffany
Yes.
stamp. It was different.
Yes.
But he was one of the first people with that watch.
Yes.
Everything he's done, he's excelled at.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
for sure.
Music, collecting, drink champs, like everything he taught, finding Pharrell. I mean, not finding, but like being one.
He
of the
probably
first,
would like that credit.
betting on Pharrell
For sure.
early.
Yes.
And so like he seems to be very much a forward thinker and someone who excels greatly. So I've never met him, but I have tremendous respect for him.
Biggest risk taker.
By the way, I love this. This is so much fun.
I'm having a blast.
Yes.
Biggest risk taker. I got Pharrell,
Yes.
Drake, and N.O.R.E.
Why aren't you considering Jay in that category?
Biggest risk taker?
Yeah. Bro,
It doesn't feel risky for Jay anymore.
can I make an argument
But please,
for Jay?
let's go.
One, Jay has been doing this for a very long time at a very high level. He was one of the first to wear the Jacob 5 time zones, which we've talked about before.
Mm-hmm.
He was the first to partner with Hugh Blow that I know from the hip hop world. He was the first to partner with AP that I know from the hip hop world.
Yeah.
He, the Bueller had a Mueller, but
I know.
Like,
Yes, I
he
switched
was-
it for a melee because I'm richer.
And prior to that,
So,
I
like-
was drinking freebase.
Yes,
So,
yes.
That's a bar.
That is a
bar.
bar.
That is
Yes.
a bar.
If people know.
That is
Yes.
a bar.
Oh, for sure.
If you know about Richard Pryor.
So like he's been an early adopter to so much.
That's very true.
And then when you see him like at Michael Rubin's party wearing a vintage Rolex Daytona, and like a crazy gem set watch, and like you said, a Tiffany Cubitus,
Mhm.
I would say that Jay is not only the biggest risk taker, he's the biggest trend setter.
That's a fair point.
I would like to
So let's
amend it and say
we'll add Jay. Pharrell, I'm thinking because Pharrell's always kind of been against the grain,
Yes.
right? And to your point, I think Jay with the watches was playing in a similar field, but Pharrell had all that stuff. He had the 5 time zone. He did the iced out G-Shocks, which was crazy.
That's
Yes.
true.
Yes.
I
Right.
thought and he had a concept, a piece of
Concept.
CW1
He did the concept early.
CW1,
You know, known
yeah.
for the QP, the gold QP,
Yep.
AP Royal Oak,
Mm-hmm.
and the way he embraced Richard Mille. He just kind of always struck me as someone who was going to go for stuff that no one else had.
Yeah.
Like I've never seen.
But that's his brand.
Still, his brand is taking risks. I've never seen Pharrell in a Rolex, ever.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't even know if a photo exists of him wearing a Rolex.
Yeah, probably not.
It'd be like finding a picture of him wearing white Air Force Ones. You're not gonna find it. N.O.R.E, to your point, is playing the retail game.
Yes.
Right? He's buying watches that are not popular, collecting also popular watches, assembling a collection of watches that he likes. You know, if you know,
Yes.
that's a game, right? Then you got Drake, which I think is interesting,
Mm-hmm.
right? And Drake, I think, is kind of like an X factor. When you look at some of the stuff that he has,
Yeah.
he's got a lot of Rolexes. I mean,
Yeah.
this man quoted he owned over 100 and something Rolex watches.
Yeah.
But then every now and again, he'll surprise you with something. And I think one of the things that I really love his relationship with Virgil and some of these watches that Virgil designed for him that he wears. And particularly the blacked out Nautilus with the green emeralds.
Yes.
Fire piece,
Yes.
right? And I think this is someone who a lot of people don't look to as a watch collector, but seems to actually enjoy the hobby. We also saw him wearing a Paul Newman Daytona.
That's where I was going to go.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think for the people that sort of follow him, it's interesting for him not to wear like the blingy iced out stuff
Mm-hmm.
and to see him wearing something that they would consider plain Jane,
Yes.
I think extends the conversation.
Still Jay.
Sorry.
Yes. Okay.
What do you think?
I think I'm gonna side with you, Perry, on the Drake, on the Drake vote,
On the biggest risk taker, okay.
and as a big.
Well,
risk-
I didn't say I voted for Drake.
Okay.
What do you
That
have-
was my reasoning why including him.
Oh.
So what's your-
you haven't voted yet.
So you
Okay,
you're
voted.
saying
So
Drake.
I'm going Drake, and I'm gonna go Drake because I still view him in that same kind of vein as like DJ Khaled, right? I'm sorry, I keep picking on DJ Khaled.
Hey, you just getting at him today.
But what I'm saying is that he's a Rolex guy.
He is.
He's also wearing like vintage 90s Rolex.
He had a period too where he was wearing like vintage cocktail watches.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And also he was, I believe, and I'm sorry if I'm misquoting this, but I think he was the first person who I saw with like what would be a traditionally ladies Richard Mille.
Yeah.
So
yep.
with the gold bracelet, like a 07
Yes.
or a 037.
Yes.
He was the first man that I saw wearing watches that were traditionally more geared towards ladies, and those lines have completely
That's
blurred.
a great point because I feel like, and
To
we
the
didn't
Drake-
include these
to the
guys
Drake
in the hip
point.
hop conversation, but I think when you think Drake's collecting in that vein, I also think about like Bad Bunny,
Yes.
Yeah.
J Balvin,
Yep.
right? And these are guys who, you know, for a while there was a period where the topic of the industry was gendering watches,
Yeah.
and these are three guys who've kind of also helped kind of break down that conversation,
Absolutely.
break down the mold. Like we don't need to say women's or men's watches.
Right.
If it's fly, it's fly. Who do you got?
Jay.
Jay, respect. I'm going Pharrell. So this one is split. I do think Pharrell. I think he kind of set the standard.
Can I try to assuage you for 1
Please.
second?
Sure.
I think to add to the conversation, Jay is the only one in this group who mentions the other brands and songs.
Well, Drake does put in his records.
Yeah, but he doesn't put risky watches in his records.
Risky watches.
Yeah.
What would be a risky watch?
Well, like we said, like speaking about Hublot, when he spoke about Hublot,
but
you know,
Hublot was hot.
He helped make
Yeah.
Hublot hot, and Mr. Biver would say the same thing.
We know.
Shout out to JC.
Yes.
If you think about early on, speaking about factory set
Sure.
APs, Audemars, that's losing time, put it
Yeah.
behind all these big rocks.
Those ain't Rolex diamonds with
Right,
into that.
right.
Yes.
Yeah. I think one could argue that, and let's talk about music for a second too, right? The entrance of Pharrell made it a lot easier and comfortable for hip hop artists to explore other sides of themselves artistically,
Yeah.
fashion wise, and even with watches.
Fair.
I don't know if
Fair,
people would feel
fair.
comfortable gravitating towards these pieces if a Pharrell wasn't already in the mix.
Fair.
All right, we're split on that one. All right. So you didn't sway me on this one, but
E for effort.
if there we go. This one's interesting. So best vintage. We've got Jay-Z, Drake, Tyler.
Fuck. Wow.
I know what I'm going to say. Best vintage, I'm going Jay. For me, hands down.
Hands down.
I think Jay-Z. I think
Because of the Newmans and the Daytonas and the gold Daytonas?
not just because of those pieces, the 2499 Patek.
Oh, yeah.
Heater.
Did he have a 5004 as well?
He has a 5004.
And shout out to Alex as well.
Shout out to Alex.
Alex Todd deserves
helping him really assemble this amazing collection.
A real shout out.
Pearl. He's got Yves Klein. APs.
But he also has, let's not forget, the Rolex Datejust Frank Mueller.
Yes,
that's crazy.
Okay, I'm with you. I'll go Jay as well.
Yeah.
I'll definitely have to side with you on the
Queen
Jay.
Sweet.
What I do enjoy about Tyler collecting vintage is that he's very intentional. But I would love to see him branch out into another brand. I like to see.
No, for sure. But I think that's what makes him interesting too, right? Like Tyler collects in a way where it's not like I need to assemble this collection.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he considers or cares if the watch is vintage. He might just see the watch and be like, that's hot.
Yeah.
I want that.
Yeah.
They don't make a new one. Okay, cool. Give me that one.
Yes.
And then that's it.
And that's it.
Right? And I think that's really interesting because he's going, again, from his point of view, is pure taste.
Yeah.
He's just like, I like the design language of it. I think that's great. All right, moving on to the next one. Most diverse collection. Jay-Z.
Yes.
Drake. N.O.R.E. Your favorite, Khaled.
Well, Khaled is catching unnecessary strays.
Strays, man.
He's like,
now to Khaled's defense, it is diverse, right? He collects all modern.
Yeah.
But he's got Patek, Rolex, AP. He kind of stays with those three.
Yeah.
He does get into Jacob. You know what I'm saying? We've seen him in like some crazy Jacob pieces, which I think is pretty fire. Like,
yeah.
And to be honest, he's kind of been steady with Jacob.
Yeah.
Even as we're starting to see some of these other guys get back into Jacob.
Yes.
We went a while without seeing Jay wear Jacob.
Yes.
Up until the 4040 event that he did with was the Fanatics.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Khaled's kind of stayed true to his relationship with Jacob and has been wearing his watches ever since. From that aspect, I think it's still worthy to put him in as a collector because he's still doing this pretty consistently.
I'm going to say Jay. And the reason why I'm going to say Jay is because Jay kind of carried the torch in terms of not being a rapper, right? Especially you're talking about the early, inception of hip hop. When you think rapper, you think rapper watches. If we're talking like rap and horology, right? So when
I think Jay, I don't think rapper watches.
That's what I'm saying. Like he's the individual.
At any point in his career, I don't think rapper watches.
He's the individual that bridges culture where some people that aren't accepting actually goes, oh, he's cool, let him in. And once you let someone like Jay in, then the other guy's able to come in. You got Beans coming through the door. You like, you know what I mean? Like those type of situations.
That's hilarious.
That's really funny.
No, but it's true. Like,
I would love to find out Beanie Siegel's a watch collector. Yeah. That'd be incredible, man.
Shout out,
you know what
Philly,
I mean?
Man.
Shout out to State Property. What about you?
Without a doubt, Jay.
Jay-Z.
Also longevity.
I think I would have to give it to N.O.R.E. I'll take the L on this one. I would give it to N.O.R.E. And the reason I would give it to N.O.R.E. is that I feel like N.O.R.E. has a slight edge in this for me. And that's because, and it's just based on what I know. I know N.O.R.E.'s doing this on his own.
Yes.
He knows Alex. He talks to Alex. He talks to a couple of different guys. I talk to him. We talk about watches. But for the most part,
I've never spoken to him.
He's doing this on his own.
Yes.
He doesn't have someone.
He doesn't have the machine.
He doesn't have someone who's calling like, yo, you should take a look at this.
No.
A lot of it is like him scrolling the internet, looking at YouTube, looking at Instagram, and he's like, that's hot. And the next thing you know, he's buying, like N.O.R.E. has a Tudor.
That's awesome.
He has a Tudor Red Bull.
Yes.
FXD.
That's all.
I just saw him pop up with it one day. I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah. but there's a flip side to that point, which is if Jay is being inundated with A+ stuff all day, the art of knowing how to say no is incredibly difficult.
Sure.
And requires a very high level of restraint and refinement.
It does.
It's almost more difficult than,
a lot of refinement, and then you have to really know yourself,
right.
right? And I think that's pretty clear when you think about Jay-Z, is that he's always kind of given that impression, but I think even more so today, he's so much aware of who he is.
Mm-hmm.
He's not shaken or deterred or easily steered in any direction.
Mm-hmm.
He has to already be there. This is best watch collector in hip hop. We got Drake, N.O.R.E, Khaled, Tyler, Pharrell, Travis Scott, Jay-Z.
Khaled.
The
We all
plot
feel that,
thickens. What a turn.
No,
I know.
that's not
I'm going with Jay. I think it's a clean sweep. Not only has he been doing it the longest, I think he's got the greatest sphere of influence.
Yeah.
Even outside of hip hop when it comes to watches.
Yeah.
Which is not easy to do just as a watch collector in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
To ascend to a height where you have influence. And he's done that on numerous occasions, to your point, with Hublot, RM.
Mm-hmm.
And he's done it through 3
AP.
decades, right?
Yeah,
He did it in the
yes.
90s, in the 2010s, and in the 2020s.
And I think what's interesting is even now, like being older, going back and listening to his records, you can see the through line that
I guess
this
4
is not
decades.
new. Right?
Yes.
This has kind of been something he's always kind of been interested in. His collection is top notch.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really enjoying seeing what he's doing now with a lot of these vintage Patek's that he's getting to, and vintage APs and stuff like that. And I didn't even know that, he was going after Simone Brett recently. So he's getting into indies. I think the thing with Jay's collection, and I think if I'm speculating, what drives him is his passion for it. I think he loves it. But I think also how he views himself is in a space where he should be going after pieces that there isn't a lot of access to. I can't afford to be in the same room with someone who has the same watch as me.
Right.
Yes.
What's your choice?
I'm going to say Travis.
Whoa.
Wow, that's a curveball.
I'm going to say Travis.
As the best watch collector.
I'm going to tell you why.
Tell me.
Please.
Travis
He's got heat.
is the most influential person on that list. And for anyone that is not familiar with watches, Travis exposes young kids to that, right? You talk about his sneakers, you talk about his fashion. Like, people want to dress and wear everything that Travis wears.
I think his watch too is still trading the highest out of all releases in the last 2 years from AP. It's at like at 430, 425 or something like this.
It's definitely one of them. I don't know if it's there's some pretty strong stuff, but it's certainly one of them.
So what's higher than that right now?
There's a couple of still. I
Yeah.
mean, if you think about like percentage.
I was talking about like that was released in the last 2 years.
But are you defining it by the dollar amount or
Yes.
or the percentage versus retail?
I mean, that's a good point, but right now I'm talking just the secondary price.
Yes.
Because what does that watch? 220?
It just about, yeah.
Yeah, and then it's going for 420, 430.
But to that point, right? Although people may not be able to afford or have the same things that Travis has, you do have people aspiring to get there. And when they get there, that's where they're going.
I do think it's an interesting point too, right? The fact that Travis has even ascended into a space where he has fans that can afford that watch.
Yes.
So I'm just going to push back a little bit here on a couple of points.
Let's do it.
The first is, I think it's wild to say that Travis is the most influential person on that list.
So on that list, he's the most influential. Now, the reason why I didn't pick Jay is because I think Jay
You're talking about influential in the world or in watches or in what?
I think you're talking about the world.
In the world.
So you think that Travis has more influence than Jay-Z?
Oh,
I don't
100%.
And you
know.
agree?
So here's the thing. I believe Jay is the greatest collector on the list.
Yes.
However,
I love this conversation. I'm never leaving.
However,
you have to pry me out of here.
I think if Jay came out with a Royal Oak, I don't think it would do better than Travis's. I don't think the demand would be as great for a Jay-Z watch as it would for a Travis watch today.
Oh, fine. Travis's moment of popularity is centered around a social media boom. So
100%.
So
Yes.
the reach is much greater,
Sure.
but the potency is not the same.
Well, I think there's a conversation there, right? Can it last the same as Jay's?
But it
Yes.
also like the way in which people consume information and consume trends, and they're so short and fast that, and I'm not taking away from Travis's
for sure.
influence, that the level of like the longevity of the potency of the influence to me is uncomparable.
So Travis Scott is your pick. I think we're settled on that, right?
Yeah, for
All
sure.
right. That's your for top collector, Travis Scott.
100%.
I think it's gonna be 2-1 on this.
Yeah, no, we're gonna make the right choice.
Oh, come on
That's
now.
right. That's right.
For me, it's definitely Jay-Z.
Without a doubt. I also, for the comments, right? We had this conversation in the beginning, was who is the person that you think of when you listed the categories?
Mhm.
So I'm curious to hear what people say.
Yes.
If they, in the beginning, picked Jay, if they picked Travis. So it'll be interesting to hear kind of the discourse in the comment section about this and
Yes.
why you're wrong.
This is so to that point, right? I'm gonna be honest. No one is gonna pick Travis.
No, there might be some people.
Right, because according to based on what you're saying, he's the one with the biggest influence. And I'm not saying that to be funny. I'm just
Yes.
saying like, he has an army of people
Yes.
who believe,
Well,
who are true believers of
to,
his.
To that point, right? I think in terms of who's more relevant in pop culture today, it's obviously Travis. I think the Travis point is similar to why I even included Drake in this list, right? Like, to me, is Drake the best watch collector? No, it's not even close between him and Jay or even N.O.R.E. However, I think within the sphere of hip hop, right, Drake raps about having 140, 150 Rolex watches.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of people don't know about these other brands that these guys are collecting. You hear a megastar like Drake say, I have 150 Rolexes. You might think that's the guy.
Yeah.
That's what you're supposed to. That's the guy.
Yes.
You know, Patek and AP and all that stuff. I don't know what that is. I know Rolex.
Yes.
You got 150 Rolexes? That's crazy.
That's crazy.
And so there's a certain group of people, a demographic, where in their eyes, they're like, nah, he got all the watches.
Yeah.
You know, it's if you know, you know.
Yes.
But I think popularity and influence doesn't have to be, it might not be tethered to what the audience actually knows.
Yes.
So in that respect, Travis very well could have a larger sphere of influence, but the knowledge isn't there with those people, perhaps, that are influenced by him. But I do have to give him credit. I think
Absolutely.
for someone like a Travis Scott that makes the type of music that he does, to have ascended to a place where an AP would do a watch with him.
Yes.
That is an amazing achievement.
It really is, because I can't really think of very many people that have gotten to do a watch like that. And I was actually pretty impressed by his choice.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he would want to do a complicated timepiece
Mhm.
and a perpetual calendar at that, I thought was pretty awesome.
Yes.
You know?
I also think that this is a place where AP also doesn't get enough credit. So hip hop is the largest, influence of pop culture today, at least from the lens in which I view it. I think America's biggest commodity that we export is culture.
Yeah.
If
for
you
sure.
think of Hollywood and
Hands
fashion
down.
and music and sports, and I think that we do that, all over the world. So, and hip hop is at the epicenter of that: the fashion, the music, the style.
It's
So
where it
to-
all converges.
Right,
for
right.
sure.
That in the Venn diagram,
Yep.
it's that. So I definitely agree with you on that, and I think that AP doesn't get the credit that it deserves for the collaborations that it has done. I hear people saying like, this brand is doing too much of this and this brand is doing too much of that, but to bring in Jay when AP did, and I think that was a project that Francois worked on, was so huge because so many of the brands didn't even want to let people of color into the boutiques,
Yeah.
Yes.
let alone do a collaboration with them. And there's been a huge shift in that. I do think that it is an amazing thing what a brand like AP has done and has paved the way for so many other things.
I have to agree with that. And, there's all of that, but then there's also, I can speak from my personal experience with dealing with people who work for the company. And you hear all sorts of stories.
I hope you're
only
gonna say
ever
something
had
good.
amazing experiences at AP.
Yes.
And time and time again, I think what the brand represents and the experience that I have and seeing the people who work there all the way from, Ginny to Ilaria now, who's global CEO, and everyone in between underneath. It's always just a pleasant experience. I'm actually going back there to see some novelties soon when I get back from Geneva, and I'm excited. Honorable mentions.
Yes.
So I wanted to save this for some of those whom we might know of and maybe others haven't considered or don't really know to be collectors, or just people who they have a nice collection. We admire what they're doing in watches and we see them. And so this is the time for that. I know you had someone you wanted to mention.
Yes. I mean, I want to give a huge honorary mention to SP the Ghost.
Styles P.
So, this is so cool. I learned this from you, and I think that this is one of the coolest things in the world. Please go on. This is awesome.
We had the pleasure of speaking with Styles P and having him hang out with us, and the timepieces that he brought, and something that he said that was off camera. He was like, I made sure I ain't bring no Rolexes.
Yeah.
So cool.
He wanted to be intentional and let people know, if you're going to come on a platform and talk about watches, then I'm going to bring you the best that there is. For him to talk about his love affair for watches, and it's starting with GP.
Yeah, he started with Gerard Perregaux.
He started
like this whole thing. It's so cool, man.
It's dope. And then he
Really?
shows up with like a longer flyback chrono.
Yeah, the Datograph chrono.
Datograph chrono, like, you know what I mean?
Like Portugueser. He had a white gold Aquanaut green.
And that's his rapper watch.
The 5168G.
Yeah.
5168G. He's calling
And
that his rapper
Perpetual
watch.
JLC.
The Perpetual JLC, the black dial, right?
Yes.
That is such a unbelievably
Well, his
cool
reasoning for that
left
was
field
because
choice.
he's a big fan of Doctor Strange. I'm obviously a huge fan of Styles P.
Same.
It was a pleasure having him on the show, and I think it's always great just to see who else kind of loves this hobby and has this addiction that we had. He actually referred to it as watch fever.
Yes.
Which I thought was appropriate. It's just exciting, especially with a guy like him that you kind of grew up watching as a fan of hip hop, to see him grow and transform and evolve into a space where he's just having a lot of fun doing a lot of different things. Now he has a health and wellness business called Pharmacy for Life. He's vegan and has a big lifestyle change for him. And he happens to collect watches. And I think he's just in a space where he's really comfortable at his age and where he's at. And this is his way of expressing himself and having fun.
Also, too, something that you mentioned, you gave him his flowers and said that he's a man of quality.
He drives a nice car, likes nice watches.
Yes.
Eats well.
That's also another thing too, right? For most of these people that we're sounding off, I'm wondering how much they're thinking about the quality. It's like, yeah, I'm supposed to have these things because I can afford them. But where is the quality in that?
I have another excellent honorable mention.
Yes.
Pusha T.
I was going to mention
King Push.
Yes.
Yeah, Pusha T has got some good pieces.
Another
Another Rolex guy.
but also Patek's.
He likes Patek.
And
he just
AP.
picked up a Rainbow Daytona.
I think King Push. I also think he's one of my favorite rappers. I'm very excited about his next project.
Al would be happy to hear that.
Yes.
King Push does an amazing job having a very, very, very strong low-key collection. And not that the watches are low-key, just his perspective on it. I also love the way I think of everyone, it's him or Jay. I like the way he raps about watches the most.
Sure.
He's the first one to say your bust down is bust down and don't match the metal.
Yes.
That's an amazing
That's
bar.
a good bar.
That's a good bar.
That's a great bar, but that's such a in the know bar.
Yes.
You would have to know that bust downs are usually made in steel,
Yes.
and factory set gem watches are usually made in gold or platinum,
Yeah.
in precious metals. So Like to me, that is such an erudite bar, and it shows such a collector's perspective.
Yes.
And so I think that King Push deserves a huge honorable mention. Also, style. His style is awesome.
But these are quality guys that you're talking about.
Yes.
Like, you know, sure, they may not be seen on a certain level, you know, based on like the tax bracket, but they're frequenting the same restaurants. They on the same PJ. They on the same yacht. They doing all of that, but they doing it low key and very tastefully.
Yeah, I think King Push definitely deserves to be in that category.
That was going to be someone I mentioned. There's a number of other guys too. I want to give a shout out to Mayor.
Yes.
From Terror Squad. Mayor he's been on the show. He's a really big watch guy.
I love Mayor. I've known
solid guy.
So I've known Mayor. I met Mayor. I spoke to Mayor 20 something years ago. I was, you know, probably a teenager. And at the time, he was connected to me through a mutual connection, and he was like the sneaker guy, and I think still is one of the great 100%. Sneaker people of all time. And I was a nobody, still am a nobody, but even less of a nobody then. He spoke to me like such a gentleman, and I was like this teen sneakerhead who was like loved hip hop and had heard of him, and like we had a phone call together, and he treated me like gold for nothing. I had nothing to give him. I was like, we weren't in the same world, and he treated me like such a gentleman. So I have this amazingly fond memory of meeting Mayor a long time ago, and you know, lucky to call him a friend today. But another guy who deserves his flowers. Mayor is an awesome person, awesome sneakerhead, and was always a gentleman.
You know, I'm gonna throw one more honorary mention in this. One of the biggest flex in like horology, right, is being a watch guy, but not being a watch guy or even wearing watches. And I gotta say, Kendrick Lamar.
What a good call. What a good call.
I'm going to say Kendrick.
But he does wear watches.
He's a big AP guy.
He's a big AP guy.
Yes, obviously, you know, through our good friend Michael Freeman.
Yeah. Which, by the way, can we just take a moment as far as hip hop bars go?
Yes,
Michael Freeman, my friend's cooler.
But it shows up to the pop out. Like, come on.
The AP Michael Friedman bar. I felt like Michael called me the day that came out, and he was like, wake up. And he was like, listen to this song, you know, like Rich Spirit, this moment, listen to it. I'm like, what's going on? I listened to it, and I felt like one of us made it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like for me, it is a goal now to be shouted out organically on a rap record.
Yes.
And to have Kendrick do it, that to me is probably the greatest. This is an honorable mention category. Greatest rap bar in watch history.
It's pretty good.
That has to be the one.
That's because that's also still to that point, right? Like even when guys talk about acquiring AP and stuff, they throw Francois out there because Francois is like he's the guy.
Or a watch.
Yes.
But to throw Michael Friedman, it's such a deep cut.
It's such a deep cut.
And it was so cool.
No, 100%.
What a great call.
Yeah, it was
Thank you. Did I redeem myself with the track?
Great call. You absolutely did not. But
Listen,
you took a step in the right direction.
This was a lot of fun.
Yes.
I had a blast.
Can I make a suggestion?
Please.
For the next one, if you guys will have me back, if someone ever wants to hear me speak again,
Yeah.
can we do athletes?
Absolutely.
Oh, I would love to do athletes.
I think we can expand this to a whole host of different categories.
Okay,
for sure.
good. Because I have a lot of thoughts on that.
Okay. LeBron James. This has been another episode of Rich Check Podcast. You guys know where to find us, richcheckpod.com, superniche.com, and someday soon somewhere else we'll let you know.
Hey.
Yeah. I was gonna say maybe sitting down with Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace.